You're drinking Dunkin'?
What?
What? Are
What'd
you
you say?
drinking Dunkin'?
No. I'm having it my way.
Can we start the episode now? You have like 3 cold opens, Wes. I don't even want to do mine anymore.
Think of all the TikToks.
Okay. I got one more. Okay, so are we gonna talk about the elephant in the room that like the 2 people who normally have fine kempt hair are the mad scientists this week, and Wes is all looking like dandy fresh?
I'm really glad that's the elephant in the room and you're not calling me fat. But yeah, Wes, what are you doing with your life?
Yeah.
Why are you put together?
I don't know. I don't see it. I'm glad y'all see it, but like my hair's a little unkempt. I could have got a haircut recently and it would have been nicer.
That looks even like you did. Your hair looks better now that you just floofed it. All right, that means I gotta.
There we go. I can join the party.
Mine's doing nothing today.
I gotta do the episode like this.
Lenny, just give me a solid, like, saw, dude.
Saw, yeah.
My hair broke my camera. There we go.
All right.
It'd be a lot cooler if you did.
Yeah. All right, here we go. You keep hitting the mic. I keep hearing like a
mic drop.
Like I looked over and I saw Lenny's screen lit up, and at the same time I heard.
I have no idea what you heard. Like legitimately, I have no idea.
Are you farting because you had it your way?
No, actually, I'm not. I was farting earlier because I had 2 gas station hot dogs.
Oh no!
Who the fuck? Okay, we're starting the episode. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you're tuning in from across the country and around the world. This is the Life Midwest Podcast. Thanks for tuning in to episode 106, everybody. Join a washed-up musician, a communications major, and an Army veteran, all originally from the Midwest, as we talk about life endeavors that are both current and events. Here to carry out that show with me is your host, Kevin Palmer. Get your Thai correspondent. I looked at Lenny. Get your Thai correspondent, Wes Shirley, in the booth, everybody.
Hello, everyone.
I don't know what Lenny's doing. God.
I don't know how much longer I cannot blink.
I never say this, but I really hope you guys tune into the video version of this podcast. Joining us from Tacoma, Washington, Seattle's best, but I don't mean the coffee, Lenny Wells.
Okay, I'm blinking now.
How's everybody's week, man?
Fantastic. Excellent.
It's been very warm. And I'm very tired.
And you blew up your shit box.
I blew up a shit box, but that's not what we're here to talk about this week, Kevin.
No, you're right. Normally, when we talk about the United States of America on this show, things can be interpreted as us having a rather disparaging view of the country, both its present and future. And today, believe it.
So what you're saying is we are talking about a shit box, actually, this week.
Today, believe it or not, is going to be a little different. Sure, I want to address the false patriotism in our country and why people blindly cling to the belief of our one nation under God, indivisible. But without us shitting all over people who want something to believe in, we're going to inject a little punk into this conversation today. See episode 37, where we talk about how being punk is about hoping and being optimistic that tomorrow will be better. But let's talk about it and why it's still worth being patriotic. In fact, today, you're going to find out that no one in this country, no one in the entire history of this country loves this country more than we do. Gents, what are these, obviously we're talking about the 4th of July and Independence Day and blah, 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 but what do these patriotic holidays mean to you and how do you view them? Let's start there.
Fireworks,
Wes.
blowing shit up. Murica, beer. Don't forget beer. I like the 4th of July because when I was growing up, I was like super patriotic. Like I would almost be what you would consider like a little American hooligan when I was younger. I wore like all the American outfits and shit like that. It would be like go to Walmart, get myself a red, white, and blue outfit. Go to like a farmer's market, go get me a hat with red, white, and blue on it. And like I didn't know any better. I'm like, America's the best place ever, yeah. Which is really easy to do when you're younger because America does seem like a really cool place. And there is a lot of hype around the 4th of July and patriotism and flying our flags and shit like that. So 4th of July to me does mean like patriotism. It does mean thinking about the country and how good it is. And obviously, I think differently now, but I still like feel that nostalgia when the 4th of July comes around. I have to start to think like, okay, why did I used to act like that? Why did I really like the 4th?
Did you ever come to a conclusion on that?
Yeah, it's because America is kind of pretty cool. It's a unique place, just like every other country in the world. It's got its problems, but so does every other country. And our problems are like magniphoned across the globe because, you know, we are like the media center culture hub of the world. Everyone listens to what we say. So, like, you really hear what's wrong in our country. But it's not too bad compared to what's going on everywhere else. It's definitely worse than some other places, but you know, it's probably middle of the road. We think it's worse than other people think's going on in their country, and objectively it probably is.
You bring up a good point, though. I mean, we're like the celebrity that can do no wrong, but the entire rest of the world is watching, waiting for us to do wrong. And we definitely have done wrong in the past. So I don't know where that analogy actually sticks. But Lenny, how about you?
I was gonna say I don't think that's the greatest analogy.
You never fucking like my analogies. Get out of here.
Okay, fine. I'll leave the call. No. I don't know. I kind of fall similarly with Wes. Growing up, being patriotic was like such like a huge deal, and especially like after 9/11, you know, you didn't say a damn, or you didn't say a slight against the country or the government in really any capacity, because you'd like in all likelihood get the shit beaten out of you. You know, especially where we all grew up. And I've probably, I would say that my disillusionment with like patriotism is probably more recent than Wes. You know, it really kind of started to come on late into my career in the military, and you know, there's a certain amount of, I don't know, for lack of a better term, brainwashing that happens, you know, when you go through military training and living in that kind of environment. So, but I mean, all that said, like, I still love our country. I still love America, and I don't necessarily really want to live anywhere else. Like, you know, if it like came down to it, but like Wes said, like I recognize that there's problems, that we have problems, that there's things that we need to fix, and it's because I think it's because the love I have for our country, that's what has made me disillusioned with it, because I know that we could be better. You know, it's like when you have that mentor that's like, when you like screw up, they're like, I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed. That's how I feel with our country.
Mm. So your dad vibes are kicking in with the U.S.
Yes.
I think it's interesting, and I too have experienced what you guys are talking about with especially through my grandparents, because I spent so much of my first few years with them. There was always a sense of pride in our country, and I mean, they would deck the house for Memorial Day. And I forget what they're called, the little banisters, like the half circles,
I know
American
what you're talking
flags.
about. Yeah.
Yeah. They would put those underneath the windows, and I mean, they lived in this little neighborhood that nobody drove by, and you never would have seen them, but they hung it for them. That's that. I think that was the thing, is they didn't hang it for other people to be like, oh wow, they're really patriotic. They hung it for themselves, and I think in turn, it made me really proud inherently of where I live, because it's like, wow, my grandparents are really proud of where they live. I should be too. And then I think that cognitive dissonance kind of came along, and I think that's what you guys are kind of pointing towards too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would like to feel that pride and that patriotism again. Like, it would be awesome to share camaraderie between an entire nation about how wonderful our country is. I just, after becoming disillusioned, after becoming unenchanted with the whole thing, or disenchanted with the whole thing, that kind of feels bad, because deep down I am proud to be American, right? Like, it's part of the core of who I am, growing up and being socialized and being indoctrinated in that environment.
Yeah.
Go
Sorry,
ahead.
Kevin. I don't mean to cut you off. I'm right there with you. There's times where, yeah, I do feel that sometimes, though, like that I don't know, call. Uh, I don't know if that's the right word, but um, it's hard to. You're right. It is hard to go back, right, after gone to through the mental transition that at least three of us have. And Kevin, to your point, I think it's interesting because I think it's, depending on where you live, that feeling of national pride, um, the baseline is drastically different depending on where you're at in the country, right? So the East Coast, I know that a lot of your family's from Massachusetts. That's a hub for early American history. So it's really, the baseline's pretty high for the patriotism you feel, because you live amongst it. Whereas the further west you go, the less that feeling kind of exists, because once you get into the plains and certainly to the West Coast, now you're looking at, it's not that Indian genocide doesn't exist on the East Coast, because it certainly does, but it's much more well documented and more fresh, I guess, than elsewhere in the country. So, but yeah, I would. Anyways, I'm rambling a little bit, but I too would like to feel that again.
Something interesting I want to point out, for those who might have listened to the episode with Lena, who hails from Germany. She had pointed out, and I've read this before on certain subreddits and things like that, but the patriotism for the country that you live in it's not that it's non-existent, but it's a lot more low key. Depending on who you talk to, they would probably go as far to say that their pride is shown through their passion for their country's football team. And so, a lot of Europeans, I guess, express their patriotism and I don't want to say nationalism, because that's just a hot keyword right now. But well, does that fit nationalism?
No, I don't think it does.
No, okay, patriotism. We'll stick with that word. Um, and yeah, it's just you know you think about you go through a day in the life of an American, and you see American flags on cars, and God bless the USA, and you know, American flags hanging off of flagpoles in front of houses. My mom may be from a very small town in Germany, but even when we went to bigger cities, we never saw stuff like that. No, you know, God bless Deutschland. No, and I don't know. Maybe it's just expressed differently, and I just don't, and I just didn't see it. And it's not like people hated where they lived or hate Germany or anything like that, but it was just interesting to see a contrast. I didn't even see it in Canada. I didn't see it in France. I'm trying to think of like all the other countries that I've been to. Japan.
So,
You don't really see it.
well, with two of those countries, there's a really big historical elephant in the room. You know, um, specifically with like Germany and Japan. You know, after the after the fall of the Third Reich and the Nazi regime, nationalism and patriotism certainly took a they're in the back of the bus, so to speak. You know, because that's what a lot of that was. It was the flag waving, the parades, and in the name of the country and the party, and you know, returning Germany to its former greatness after World War One. So, and then it's not, you know, 1-to-1 comparison with Japan either, but like there's a lot of cultural reconditioning, I think is a proper way to term this, for like with how they view patriotism and nationalism. So but I won't disagree with you on the whole that, you know, especially in Europe and maybe other places, that, you know, the flags or you know, being up around, or the God bless insert country name here, it's not really there. You're right, but we also have to remember that you know, comparatively, the United States is like the size of most of Europe. You know, we have states that are bigger than some countries. So if you think about the size of the U.S. and, you know, how many people we have versus like how spread out we are, it's almost, the patriotism is very much a unifying factor, and it helps us stay congruent as a country, even if for better or for worse about like how the country may be doing at that time. Because like a 2-hour car ride in the UK, it seems like it's forever, and like why would you ever do that? But a 2-hour car ride here in the US, and you're like 3 towns over. You know. So.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So, okay. So we're about 15 minutes into the show today, and I just want to pause for a second, because I started off by saying no one loves this country more than us. And sure, none of us may own a shirt that says "Land of the Free because of the Brave" from our local Walmart. But what I meant by that is we're so goddamn upset about the fascist Supreme Court, our bought Congress, and classless January 6thers, that we want things to change, right? And not just because we know they need to, but because we know that they can in this country. So where does this lead us? Where do we talk about like where does this lead us in the conversation? Coming up, we're following a developing story about how lifted trucks with 3x5 foot American flags actually do nothing to increase the size of your penis. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Life Midwest podcast. On the other side of the break, it's your hosts, Kevin Palmer, Lenny Wells, and Wes Shirley. Hey, if you're looking for ways to support us, we do have a PayPal. Do you guys know we have a PayPal set up?
You?
I do know.
Yeah, paypal.me/the Life Midwest. Ashley asked me last week while we were listening to the episode if anybody had ever sent us money, and I had to tell her no. So, cat's out of the fucking bag with that.
Could you imagine? She's like, "What are you doing with all that money?"
Right.
What money?
Oh, you know, buying mansions, yachts, things that people buy with money.
Something for the orcas to sink in the ocean.
Hell
If you-
yeah. Hell yeah, by the way. Good orcas.
It's an orca straighted attack. Sorry, Kevin.
If you are at all curious, there are things that we pay for, such as our Adobe Creative Cloud subscription, our website hosting, equipment that we've paid for as an initial investment for the show, things like that. So when I say it does cost money to run the show, it does cost money to run the show. So just some examples for you. If you're feeling extra tidy on this 4th of July, I'm Catholic, so I can make that joke. Hey, folks, we also have a website at thelifemidwest.com. You can also email us at support@thelifemidwest.com. And you can also say hi, drop on any of our major social platforms at The Life Midwest. Say hi to our social media manager, Lenny. And give us a shout out. Talk to us about this week about your experiences as a child. Was the patriotism kind of indoctrinated on you as well as a child? Was that sort of a thing, or is Lenny gonna go back and correct me on Twitter later this week because I misused that word indoctrinated? We'll find out.
Did you drink the Kool-Aid, and if so, how much?
It was delicious.
Yeah. We just want to know, to share your thoughts and how you feel about where we are today, and if it's something like us, or maybe you feel differently about it. We want to hear from you. So I want to ask you guys a question. In your opinion, how do we stay the course of shaping our country without feeling all down and out about where we are right now?
Wes, do you have something?
There's a fantastic saying. I don't know who said it, and I'm totally butchering it, but it's something along the lines of "only the plebs are happy." Basically, just don't fuck with it. Go drink some beer and hang out at your bar. That'll make you happy. And if everyone did that, there would be less people meddling in the affairs of the country. Obviously, I don't feel that way. But there is some truth to it. How are we supposed to remain happy, remain stable when we're thinking about all what's wrong in the country? Sorry, I forgot what your question was. I'm rambling over here.
How do we stay the course of shaping our country without feeling all down and out about where we are right now?
I don't know if there's a way to do that. We can try to stay punk or whatever, but like the more you unravel what's happening in the country, just the more down you're going to get. Like, from my point of view, it all looks pretty bleak. And even though I don't want to feel like that, like, I really want to see this country become something great. Make America great again.
Easy there, proud boy.
We're proud.
I would say that it's and it's easier said than done, but you have to adjust your frame of mind. And what I mean by that is, yes, like as you go down the rabbit hole, so to speak, or unravel like what's happening, as Wes just said, it's very easy to fall into that apathetic state of mind. But I think the key would be to try and find a way to have that motivate you, and to I don't know what the opposite of apathy is. I don't know that word. Maybe Wes can flash it up on the screen right here. But do that instead.
Empathy?
I
don't know.
Well, instead of sinking down into that despair and rise to the occasion, because feeling down about it is easy, but at the same time, like feeling down about it and not doing anything doesn't, it's not going to fix it, right? So you have to find a way for whatever, and you have to find a way to engage or work towards an outcome that you want to see, and in a way that makes sense for you. Because I'm not advocating for everybody to quit their day jobs and campaign and or protest or whatever. It means it's going to mean something different to everybody, and I think that's the way we do that.
I think I've come up with a
Okay.
real answer after hearing that. It kind of mimics what that was, but find out how you can help and then set realistic goals. Because, like he said, you can't quit your job, you can't go out and just campaign or whatever, but what can you do? What little small step can you do that in aggregate's going to help better the situation that we're all experiencing, or how you perceive we're experiencing it, right? And this goes for both sides. We see this happening on the side that the three of us would consider on the wrong side. We see them doing this very well, out campaigning, out using their voice, out, Twitter warrioring, and they're setting realistic goals, and incrementally they're being successful. So if you want to see if you want something to happen, find out what that is, really set that in stone, and then set realistic goals and work towards them. And try to remain positive throughout the process.
Okay, so before we get too far, I said we were going to talk about being punk. So Lenny, I want you to remind us, for those who don't turn all the way back to episode 37, what exactly being punk is. It's your concept. It's your brainchild. Let's get a little too long didn't read.
Lenny created punk today on the Life Midwest podcast.
Okay, so first off, don't put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby. I did not create it. It's certainly not my brainchild, but it was a good idea that I really liked, and I've tried to embrace it. And that's just being hopeful and working to not only better yourself, but help to better the people around you. That's equality, respect, and if you're in a position to help raise people up with you. That's the very TLDR for that episode. But you should definitely still go listen to it.
And there you have it, folks. That's today's Too Long Didn't Read, except it's coming at the knee-deep point in the episode where you've already listened this far. So you may as well stick around for the credits, right? Listen, in 2023, being patriotic doesn't mean that you're happy with the way this country is, regardless of your political or religious affiliates. It means that you love this land just as much as the next person, and you hope that someday you're optimistic about feeling proud about that love again. No, you're not Harry Potter trapped in a broom closet underneath the stairs with your proof of the United States, transphobia relations to our once beloved creator of the series giving birth to that metaphor set aside. No, you're Lenny, you're Wes, you're me. And together, that's 4 people. But 4 people can do a lot. Hell, 4 guys named John, Paul, George, and Ringo transformed rock music forever. I'm talking about the Beatles. So who's to say we can't make some waves too? Folks, it's been real. It's been fun. It's been real fun. It's time to go to the shout-outs. I'm going to start off this week. I want to shout out my amazing fiance, Ashley. I want to shout out being punk. I want to shout out my grandparents and their well-intended patriotism. I think it's taught me to be optimistic in many ways in life. And so I appreciate that. Want to shout out Lenny for bringing that concept of being punk to the show and allowing me to bring it back to the platform. Want to shout out Wes and his fresh haircut this week. And use of dry shampoo. How does he do it? How does he do it? Lenny, what do you got for us?
I want to give a shout out to the amount of British references that you had right there at the end. It's very patriotic. I want to give a shout out to my wonderful wife, Brittany, who she helps. Some of you may not know or understand why the 4th of July is a little bit of a rough time for me, but she helps me through it. So I thank her a lot for that. And shout out to you guys for not being able to put an episode together that's not down in the dumps about the U.S. and how we can be better. That's all I got. Wes?
I want to give a shout out to the way of thinking of the Renaissance. We have democracy popping up and thoughts about how to live free. I want to give a shout out to the founding fathers who took those thoughts and turned them into a country. I want to give a shout out to the preamble of the Constitution. That's what keeps me motivated. When I think of how bad the US is, I remember that actually the way that our country was organized, it should be that we're working forward to not only help everyone within the union, but also to help for the next generation and then the next generation. If you don't know what the preamble is, it's the first 25 words of the Constitution. There's a Schoolhouse Rock song about it that can help you memorize the whole thing if you want. It's what keeps me optimistic and motivated to care about the country, because it's really good. It is punk. It's optimistic as fuck. Want to give a shout out to mothers. We do that here. Give a shout out to my wife Yui. In September, her and I will be coming to the US. She'll get to see the US for the first time. And shout out to both of you for having a positive and optimistic conversation this week with me.
We're ready to host you, bud. I got a box spring and a TV for you.
Fuck yeah.
We the people, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and then secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, to ordain and establish the Constitution for the United States of America.
Folks, don't forget to leave us a review on your favorite listening platform. Interact with Lenny and all of his singing and karaoke abilities with that's dead sober too.
I only karaoke sober.
On all major social platforms at The Life Midwest. Check out Wes's work on the website at thelifemidwest.com or email us at support@thelifemidwest.com. We'll read your email if we get it. So, folks, other than that, we're going to get out of here. Next week, we're going to be doing something kind of fun. Unless we decide that we're going to keep on keeping on with the whole, not doing what we talked about the week before. Apple announced the Vision Pro. Is it going to change AR computing and spatial computing forever? For $34.99, we'll find out. So we'll talk about it next week, and we'll see you guys next Saturday and every Saturday here on Life Midwest Podcast. Call your mom, tell someone you love them. Have a good one, and we'll see you next week. Take care.
Deuces.
Bye. Love you, babes.